Hello and welcome to part 10 of the Tim Burton style character. This is David Ward, and when last I left we had just put the hair onto the head, and as you can see I went in and took some time and went ahead and styled the hair up a little bit better, so it's a little more nice and neat now. Go ahead and give you a quick test render of that so you can see what it looks like, and I'll pause recording so you don't have to sit here and watch, so hold on just a second. Okay, so you can kind of see what that looks like. I think it looks quite a bit better. So you can, take some time and style it this way if you like. Just using the same techniques that we used in part 9, just being a little more intricate with it. Okay, so we got the head hair all set. Let's go ahead and add some eyebrows. Now, what we were originally going to, I'm going to go ahead and turn the head hair off for now. But anyways, we're originally going to use vertex groups just like we did on the scalp. But if we do that, let's go ahead and get it set up. Call this one hair brows, and it's going to be hair, and we'll come down to the density and say hair brows, and then go ahead and set the velocity. Go ahead and turn on advanced. Set the velocity right here to about 0.25. No, it's still too long. 0.05. And that'll probably be fine. But now if you see, if we come down here and turn on children to interpolated, well, of course we'll have to comb them up and style them, but they're going to be they're going to end up being way too thick. So I'm going to use a different technique to put the eyebrows on there than we did with the hair. So let's go ahead and turn the children off for now. And you got to be real careful because sometimes Blender likes to crash, or it did on me when I was playing with this earlier. So let's do this. Let's go up to your object modifiers. Go ahead and turn off subsurf for now. And then come to our objects tab and turn on wire, just so we can kind of see where the faces are. And then we're going to go back to our particles. Go ahead and save. Like I said, it likes to crash, so if it does, we'll bring it back up. But come up here, set the number of particles here. Just go ahead and set that to 0. And then we're going to go into particle mode, and we're just going to draw them on there. And let's make sure that X mirror is turned on. It is, okay. And go down to add. Now, we want the eyebrows to be on these faces here. This face, this face, and this face. And I know, well, it looks like that's a B mesh right there, but it's not. It's just not. If we tab into edit mode, you can see that it's actually connected there. But this wireframe likes to take some shortcuts sometimes, like right there too. You can see there's actually an edge right there, but it's kind of blending them together. But anyways, this will give you a good visual idea of what faces we can draw on. So we got our add tool, radius of 50, count of 1. That'll work. So let's just come in here and go ahead and turn off interpolate for now. So let's just click and drag in there and just draw. Don't worry about which direction they're facing or they're pointing right now, because we'll comb those back in. So let's draw those on there about like so. And let's go ahead and come down a little bit further into there. And there we go. Okay, so now let's get the comb tool. And since X-Mirror is still turned on, what we comb on this side will automatically be reflected onto that side, so that'll save us a little bit of work. So let's just go ahead and get this combed up to be kind of, the general shape of an eyebrow. I guess we can come in and turn the subsurf back on, because as you can see, we want to make sure any changes you do to the hair, you make sure you do it with subsurf turned on, or as you can obviously see, once you turn it on, all of your changes will be changed, so you don't want that. So let's go ahead and comb those back to look decent. Okay, and maybe bring this in a little bit further right there. And let's go ahead and get the length tool set to shrink, and just lightly brush across here, making those brows a little bit shorter, about like so. And we can get the puff tool, kind of just puff them out just a little bit. And let's comb. Let's get the only the tips now. So get the tip right there, kind of like we did on the head here, and just click and drag that up. And then maybe once we get them all puffed out a little better, we can grab the whole area and just kind of get those shaped up a little bit better. So there's a couple of emptier spots right there, so let's add one more. Now we need to turn on interpolate, but we'll add one more dot right. Well, if we can click in the right area, there we go. Okay, I think that'll work. And now another thing we need to do differently is come back to our particle settings, come down to children, and let's, instead of being interpolated now, because what interpolated does is it still relies on the vertex group. So we're not even using the vertex group anymore. So what we need to do is say simple. And what it's going to do is it's going to place the children around each one of those parent strands. But right now the radius is way too big for our eyebrows, so we need to set that way down. So let's set it to about 0.05. And that's still a little bit too bushy. So let's try a little bit lower. Let's try 0.025. And that'll probably work. We don't need 100 strands, so let's set the display down as well. Let's set the display to 5, and then the render, we'll put that to 10. And then up here under render, just like we did on the head hair, we need to turn it to strand and B-spline. Go ahead and use material number 2, and then go ahead and set the random length to about 0.5. So there we go. Okay, so I think we're good to go there. Let's go ahead and save. And let's turn off the wireframe view now. So we'll go back to the object. I'd like to have the mouse over. There we go. Object setup. Object pop up there. Oh, and I just realized I have not been using the screencast key. Sorry about that. So we'll come down here, turn off wire. Okay, so we'll look through our camera, and we'll go ahead and do a test render, and hopefully it will turn out pretty nice. So I'll go ahead and hit render. Actually, let me go ahead and save. I like to save as often as I can. So, and I'll be right back with the final, or the not final render, but the finished render. So, okay, and you can see the eyebrows. They look okay. They're a little thick, but what's concerning me most is right in here. I guess where we added those new strands there earlier. It's kind of misbehaving. So let's jump back into particle mode and see if we can't center this guy up in the scene a little bit better. And let's go ahead and turn off the children display in our view right here real quick. Just go ahead and uncheck that. And then, I don't really see a huge problem right there. Maybe I just need to come those together a little bit better. And let's go ahead and shrink them down a little bit more. And let's comb that out just a bit. Okay. I say okay, like I'm done, and then I jump back in and do some more craziness. Okay, now then, I think the brow should be shaped pretty well. I guess we can change some of the children settings in. Let's go back to our particle settings. And the radius is 0.025. That might be a little bit too big still, so let's make that a little smaller. Let's try 0.015. And maybe that'll work a little bit better. And maybe we don't need to have as much randomness there. Let's try 0.25 there. Okay, so we'll go and do a test render here. And pause recording. Be back when it's done. Okay, so that's done. And there's still a little bit of weirdness going on right there, but I think that looks good enough for now. So I guess we're going to call the eyebrows done. So let's kind of zoom out on our camera here a little bit and turn on the hair as well, right there, just so we can get an idea of what it's all going to look like with his eyebrows and his hair. So I'll go ahead and render this out, and let me move the target of the camera down a little bit. So I'll go ahead and render this out, and we'll see what that looks like. So be right back. Okay, there we go. There's with his full head of hair and his eyebrows. I think it looks pretty nice. Yeah. So I guess that's all pretty well taken care of. Let's go ahead and save this guy. And now, I guess what we need to do is start working on some clothes for him. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and create some pants first, just to to hide his shame, as it were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Shift D, duplicate my model, and then I'm going to go ahead and tab into edit mode and let's make sure we have that new model selected. It should be Tim 001 if I can scroll up here. Tim Mesh 0, yes. Okay. And for some reason, okay, there we go. Must hit the wrong button. Okay, so let's delete the whole top half there above his waist, and maybe that loop there as well. Oh, I guess I need to turn the X-ray view back on so I can get that in there. Let's delete all those guys. Okay, and then we'll delete down here around his feet. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit delete. Just get rid of those vertices. Tab out. And let's go ahead and name this Tim Pants Mesh. Okay. And we need to get rid of all the extra stuff that's applied to that. So let's go to our materials. Go ahead and delete both of those. Minus that one out. Go to our particles and scroll up here and go ahead and get rid of those off of there. And now I should be good to go. Yes. Okay. Now the first thing I want to do is add a couple of loops in here so that we can put a crease there in the front of the pants and in the back. So he's going to be wearing a nice suit. So we want to add some creases to it because it's been ironed. But first of all, we need to make it a little bit bigger than his legs, just a little bit. So Alt S and then scale it up just a little bit. There we go. And now we'll come in here and tell you what let's do, just so we don't have to do it twice. Let's go ahead and cut it in half. Delete this left side, or the right side, I guess. Delete all those vertices, and then we'll add ye old mirror modifier. Go ahead and pop that up to the top. There we go. And now let's find the center crease, or the center loop, about right there. That's good. And let's add a loop right beside it and drag it in real close. About like that. And you can see it adds kind of a crease there in the front. We'll clean it up a little bit better, but I want to go ahead and put one on the back too while we're at it. Go ahead and add a loop right there. Okay. And now let's go ahead and grab the ankles. Go ahead and scale those up a little bit. Drag them down a little. Maybe grab this bottom loop. Scale it up. Okay, now, excuse me, let's go ahead and bring this crease out so it looks a little more visible. And maybe up here too. Okay, and then let's do the same thing on the back. Now, tell you what we can also do after we finish with this is we can go into sculpt mode and add some wrinkles and everything in there so it'll look real nice. Let's extrude up, and this will be for his belt line. Okay, and one thing we can do to give the edges of the clothing the illusion of thickness is, well, there's a couple of things we can do. One, we can actually give them thickness by adding the solidify modifier. But the problem with that is it adds a mesh all the way inside and everything, so we'd have a lot of intersections, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that solidify we just put on there. And a little trick we can do is just grab, well, let's grab this edge, and I'm going to delete the seam from it. So I'm going to clear the seam, and I'm going to extrude one time. Just hit E, and then we'll right-click out, and let's turn off our proportional editing for now and scale that down. And you can see it kind of gives it an illusion of thickness, even though it's really just curving in a little bit. So let's add one more loop there just so it's a sharper cut down there. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing around the belt. Select that loop, extrude out, and scale down. There we go. Okay. Now, like I said, I want to add a few wrinkles, like especially there around the back of the knees and maybe in the crotch area, so like when he bends his legs and things. So, now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how. It's real easy to do. Let's go ahead and apply the mirror. Okay. And then we'll turn off subsurf for now because we need to, if we're going to mess with sculpting actual detail rather than like just using it to help model, we need to go ahead and use the multi-resolution instead. So let's go ahead and subdivide that a couple of times. Okay. And we'll go into sculpt mode. And let's turn on the symmetry on the x-axis there. Go up to F brush and set the radius way, way down to about, let's make it 8. Then we'll zoom in here on the backs of the legs and just go ahead and, looks like we might need some more subdivisions there, so let's do that a couple more times. And then we can drag in and draw some wrinkles in here. Just like so. Okay, good. And let's make our brush a little bigger and the strength down a little bit more. And let's come up to the groin crotch area. Go ahead and add a few, set our strength down even further. There we go. Just add a few wrinkles in there. Now I'd like them to be a little bigger. There we go. Oh, it's not behaving the way I'd like. Set the radius up, strength up some. But tell you what, let's go to the curve. There, that's our problem. It's still using that sharp curve from, I guess, when we were doing the creases and things in the face. So turn that back to the original brush shape. Now we go in here. And of course now I need to set these back down. Okay. There we go. Okay, and just put a few wrinkles in there. Oops. And maybe a few up in here around his waistband. Now we're going to actually come back in here and smooth these up, so if it doesn't look great right now, as obviously mine does not, don't worry, we can fix it. We have the technology. Okay, so just add a few wrinkles here and there. Just give it that sense of realism. Even though it's a cartoon, it's based on, you know, like a claymation figure that is still in the real world. So give it those real world clothing attributes. Zoom in here, give him some more wrinkles along the seat. Okay, now we'll go ahead and clean those up a little bit. Get the smooth tool. And let's come in here and just start touching these up. And then down here a little bit. And then around the backs of the knees too. Go ahead and clean those up. Let's set the strength down a little bit further. Okay, so maybe on around the seat as well. Okay, and the crotch here is looking a little odd, so let's clean that up some. Okay, and I think the pants will be fine now. If you wanted to, We could go ahead and add like the where the zipper would go. So let's go ahead and do that. But we need to turn off the X mirror for now. So let's go ahead and, except now instead of using the brush, we're going to use the layer. So we're going to come in here and just, oops, need to set the fall off, I guess. Set it to almost square, but not quite. So I guess let's use that one, and then just drag this guy up there to about like that. There we go. And then come up here and make the strength quite a bit further down. And now if we just, well, it's not really behaving as I'd like. So let's try clay strips, see if that, there we go, that'll work. So let's go to our front view and make our radius a little bit bigger. Not too, set it to about, let's make it 40. And see what that looks like. And that'll be, oops, just one swoop. Set the strength up just a bit. There we go. And now we can grab the smooth tool and just brush that over that just to get those weird lines out. And then we'll need to smooth this side up a little bit, but leave this side over here as sharp as you can. Okay. So that'll be the pants. And if you want to go ahead and do the same thing and add pockets, you can, but I'm not going to add any pockets. So that's being all done. Let's go ahead and come out of sculpt mode. Let's go back to object mode, and let's split our window up. Let's make these a little smaller, and split the window. There we go. Turn this to UV image editor, and let's go ahead and close out the render result. Tab into edit mode so we can make sure we have a good layout for our pants here, and let's go ahead and unwrap them again. Just U unwrap, and then UVs, average the scale, and then pack the islands. And let's see what we got here. Those are the legs, and then this is the waist. Let's remap these seams on the pants there. So we got everything selected. Let's go W. Actually, I guess Control E. Clear all the seams, and then let's add some new ones along the edges. So let's just add one there, and then one there, and then one across the inseam right there. So now we'll go Control E, mark the seam. Now when we select everything, you unwrap. It'll be, for the most part, pretty even. Let's go ahead and average their scale. And for some reason, this leg is really skewed, so let's go ahead and select that middle row and do it like we did on the face. Scale it to 0% on the x-axis, go ahead and pin it, and now select everything again and unwrap, and now they should be even. So now we go UV pack islands, it'll put them on there nice and evenly. So now we need to create a new texture for our pants, so let's go ahead and X that out and create a new one, and 1024 by 1024, that should be fine. We'll leave it, might as well, let's go for 2048 by 2048. And then we'll go ahead and say OK. And now we're going to, the detail that we painted on there with the sculpt tool, we're going to bake that to a texture so we can just use it as a bump map instead of having all those extra vertices on there. So we do that by going to our render settings, down to bake, and bake mode, we need to change it to normals. And go ahead and bake from multi-res, and go ahead and hit bake. You can see it over here starting to bake all that extra all those wrinkles and everything onto a tangent normal map. So you can see all those wrinkles in there. So now, if we save this, save as image, go ahead and save it in here, and we'll say pants, or I guess Tim pants normals. And it doesn't have to be a PNG. I'm going to go ahead and change it to JPEG just because they usually have a smaller file size. So 100% quality, go ahead and save as image. And now we'll come to our modifiers and go ahead and get rid of that multi-res. Turn subsurf back on. And let's come to our material settings. Go ahead and create a new one. And we'll call this one Tim Pants. Okay. Go to our textures, add a new one. Tim Pants Normals. And it's going to be an image or movie. There we go. And go ahead and collapse the colors. Image. Going to hit the thumbnail and say Untitled. That's the one we just baked. And we'll go ahead and call this one Tim Pants Normals. And go ahead and collapse that. And under image sampling, go ahead and check normal map. And tangent is already selected, and that's the one we want. So go ahead and collapse that. Go down to influence, turn off color, turn on normal. So if we see a preview of both there, you can kind of get an idea of sort of what it's going to look like, but not a real good representation because it's going off the UVs of the pants and not just the sphere or whatever. So anyways, let's grab our camera and go and zoom out so we can see our pants. And since we're about to render, let's go ahead and turn off the particle hair. You know, while I'm at it, let's go ahead and rename that second one to hair underscore brows. Go ahead and save. Go ahead and turn those off on the viewport and in the render so we don't have to worry about them for right now. And then let's just see what these pants look like. Okay, so we baked the wrinkles and everything, but we took that multi-resolution modifier off, which also removed the high-resolution mesh, as you can see. But since we added it as a normal map, we should still see those wrinkles when we go to render. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, I forgot to do one thing on our texture. Go back to your texture on your Tim Pants material, Tim Pants Normals texture, and I forgot to tell it to map to the UV coordinates. So now when we render, we should see the wrinkles like we were trying to see earlier. So you can kind of see them if we zoom in a little bit more. Grab our camera. Where's it at? There we are. Zoom in a little bit more. We can probably see them quite a bit better. Yes, there they are. Okay. So time's running out, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and call part 10 done, but then on part 11, we're going to come in here and add some color and a little bit of fabric texture to our pants, and then we'll go on, if we have time, and do the shirt and maybe the suit jacket or whatever. So that's going to be it for part 10. So we got the eyebrows and the pants done. Part 11, we'll like I said, we'll move on to other things. So that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Sorry, they're starting to take longer and longer each time, it seems. So hopefully next time won't take quite as long. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in part 11.